Hello Stampers, it's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and today I have a fun fold card featuring these products here, the piece of cake stamp set along with the cake builder punch and the artisan textures. Now these products are going to be retired through Stampin' Up! In just 2 days, and so if you're looking to get these, I would recommend heading over to my store and placing an order now. I'll leave a link in the comments below so you can just click and head right over to my store. So if you're watching today and you're not already subscribed, I hope that you'll hit the subscribe button right below this video. It should be in the lower right-hand corner. And once you hit subscribe, you'll see a little red bell. If you click that, you're never going to miss a notification of any of my videos for my tutorials. So let's get started and I'll show you the card that we're going to make today. I think you're going to love it. It is called a Slimline card, and it's super fun. And it's different, and it's made with almost a full sheet of paper, so you will need a little bit of a commitment of paper. Plus, watch till the very end. I have a really fun project. It's going to take just a few minutes, and it's going to coordinate with this. You're going to love it. Let's get started, and I'll show you what we're going to need to create this project. You're going to need a piece of cardstock cut at 7 by 8.5. It is scored down the 7-inch side at 3.5. You need a piece of Whisper White cut at 3.25 by 8.25, and I did cut a second one of those to put on the inside of the card so that it had another layer. You're going to need a piece of cardstock that coordinates with this card base, cut at 2.5 by 7.5. And then another layer to go on top of here, cut at 2.25 by 7.25. I have a scrap piece of paper to show you how to punch the cakes, and you're going to need a little scrap of coordinating of whatever your cardstock is for or the color of your cardstock is. So let's get started and I'll show you how to create this really fun card. So I did already score this, and I'm just going to fold it in half and use my bone folder, and then I'm going to set this piece aside. We're going to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to get my piercing mat because I like to stamp on that, a piece of scrap paper so I don't scrap or stamp off the side of my card. And then I'm getting this piece of 3.25 by 8.25 white. I'm going to use the Artisan Textures stamp, and I've already mounted them. And the ink colors that I'm using today are Coastal Cabana, Grapefruit Grove, because that coordinates with our card, and Pineapple Punch. I'm going to use Coastal Cabana on the back side of this, and my Coastal Cabana is pretty dark, so I'm actually going to stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp on my card. And you're just randomly stamping. There's no rhyme or reason to how you're stamping, just random stamping to fill up some of the space. Okay, so I'm going to wipe that off so that I don't accidentally stamp it on something else. That happens to me. And now I'm going to use my Pineapple Punch, and I'll do a little bit of stamping with that. And I'm not going to stamp that off. I like how bright and bold this one is, so I'm not stamping off with this one. I'm going to go ahead and clean off that stamp real quick and put my ink away. And then the last one is Grapefruit Grove. And again, just random splotches wherever you see fit. Now I'm doing this one the long way because I'm going to make this a portrait card. This one is in landscape mode, but I'm going to do this one the portrait way. So I did stamp this splotch going this direction. And then that piece we can go ahead and put that right on top of our card base. So I'm going to use a little bit of adhesive and put that right down. Now our next layer, we're not doing any stamping on this piece of cardstock. So we can go ahead and put that piece down. Again, don't forget to keep watching because at the end, I have a really fun project that coordinates with this one that you're not going to want to miss out on. Now we need to stamp some cakes, and I'm going to show you how to do that and a few tips and tricks. And so let me get my pieces for the cake out here. Now to start with, because this punch is 2 pieces and it punches both out at the same time, the first thing you're going to want to do is open yours up and look, and the cake base is at the top. It really doesn't matter when you're putting it on here, so I'm going to go ahead and put it at the bottom. And what I did is, this is more important when you're actually punching it out, so I'll show you that in just a minute. I put my stamp on here. I have this from punching some cakes out earlier, so what I'm going to do is lay that right over the top and make sure that the stamp from the cake plate fits in perfectly. Now I'm going to take whatever cake that I choose, and I'm using the same cake. There are 6 different cakes in this set, but I'm going to use the same one. And now I just make sure that the cake fits perfectly in there as well. Push down so that it doesn't move, and now when you punch it out, it's going to be perfect. So I'm going to use Memento Black because I'm using my Stampin' Blends markers. And I'm just going to stamp that on there. I'm using my piercing mat so I get a good even stamp across the bottom. And then I'm just going to show you real quickly. I always like to take an opportunity to show a little bit of shading, tips on shading. So when you're using your Stampin' Blend marker, you can do a little bit of shading with several different colors, or you can just straight color. It's whatever you choose. But if you want to do a little bit of shading, now on mine, let me show you here. I did some shading on the cake plate, but I didn't actually do it on the cakes, but you could do it on the cakes too. So what you want to do when you're coloring with Stampin' Blends markers is figure out what side is your light source. So if I want my light to be coming in from the right, then I'm going to make a dark shadow on this left side. So I'm just making little marks here, little hashes kind of, with my dark color. I'm not going across the whole image, just over on that left side, because remember, my light source is coming from this way. The sun is shining down this way, so there's going to be a natural shadow there. So you're going to go over that edge where it's meeting the white paper and just kind of blend it. Now I like to turn little circles and blend it. And this is blending the 2 colors to kind of almost create a third color, and it's blending the light color with the dark color to kind of make a medium color in the middle. So we're just going to do that down on the next level of the cake as well. You don't want to color the whole thing and keep coloring over and over, but if you need to touch it up a little bit, you can. But if you keep coloring over the whole thing, it's going to make it all one color again. So again, here at the very bottom, I'm just going to color over that area where the 2 come together, and then leave this side a little bit white. And then it looks like you do want to give it about a minute or so to dry, because it's always going to look darker until it has a chance to dry. Now, I'm not going to color all of these cakes because I wanted to save time, but I want to show you, whoops, and I put that in there upside down. I wanted to show you how quickly you can cut this out. And my page is still just a little too long, and I left my scissors over on the other table. Okay. And so you can see it perfectly matches up to punch every single time. I'm not going to punch this one because I'm going to color it later, but I'll set it aside, and I want to get out the pieces that I already created. Here they are. So I already colored them, and they're ready to assemble on my card. So one more thing I need to do before I can do that is I need to stamp down here at the bottom Now, again, on this one that I did in landscape mode, I did the happy birthday here. Because this is portrait, I can't do the same thing. I'm gonna stamp it down here at the bottom. So I'm gonna ink up my word, happy birthday. Put it right down here at the bottom. And then also on this little scrap, while I have my ink out, I'm going to stamp, cut the cake. And then the last thing that we want to do while we're stamping is, this is my piece that goes inside, and I want to make a little cake on the inside. So I'm going to disconnect the two, because if you stamp them at the same time, there's a little gap between the cake and the plate. So I'm just going to do my cake or my plate first, and then I'll come in with my birthday cake. And I'm going to stamp right over that. And then I'll go ahead and color it in later, because I want to save a little bit of time, but then I'll just stick this on the inside of my card and it'll be all ready to go. So let's go ahead and assemble our card. And we're not going to put it together until we get everything put on here. So if you want everything to be perfectly lined up, you can measure and figure out where everything's going to go. I kind of eyeball it, and I'm going to put everything on here just to start with, to make sure that I have adequate spacing and nothing is too close to the next one. I think I'm going to bring this one down just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and start gluing. I'm going to use some liquid glue, because it gives us a little bit of wiggle room if we need it. And if it gets crooked, you have a little bit of saving grace there. All right, now I can put my cake on top of here. And while I'm gluing, let me just remind you, in case you came in late to the video, if you're following me right now watching the video, go ahead and click the subscribe button so that you never miss a video. You don't want to miss out on any of these fun projects. We have a brand new catalog coming out, which means we have new stamps and dies and punches and new paper. It's going to be such an exciting time for creating, and I would like to share that with you. So if you click subscribe, you'll get notification of all my videos. All right, this last one, I'm going to put in the middle. I did the top and the bottom one. That way I could kind of eyeball a little better where my space was. And then this one here, I think I'm going to put that on with a dimensional. I just thought it would give it a little bit of a pop. So I'm going to put that one right there on top with a dimensional. Now, I did decide that I would like a little, whoops, that got a little crooked. I want a little ribbon to go right here, so I'm going to take a glue dot. And I already tied the ribbon. It's with our Bermuda Bay striped ribbon. And that's on there. And so now I can take this piece and go ahead and center it right on our card. We're almost done. That piece that said cut the cake, we're just going to take our paper snips and we're going to cut the 3 words separately. So we're going to have cut the cake. That's one of the funnest parts at a birthday party. Oh yes, cut the cake. All right, so now I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on the back. And I'm going to put them on individually. I like doing this. It just adds a little bit of texture. Sometimes I like creating one layer cards, but sometimes I like making them a little bit more wow. So the last thing that I'm going to do is I decided I was going to use some of these iridescent sequin. It's an assortment of colors. And so I don't have my take your pick tool with me. So I'm just going to, let's see if I can just dump a few out. And I decided that I wanted to put a few of these on here. I don't really recommend putting them on with your finger because they do stick, but that's what I have with me now, so that's what I'm going to make work. All right, I'm going to add one more here. And then I decided I would like 2 up here. And then I think I'll put 2 right here. And so I'll grab these, stick them on. They'll just need a little time to dry. And then the last 2 are going to go right down here. Are you still with me? Hopefully you've not given up. We're almost ready to for that last project, that special project I told you I wanted to do that coordinates with this card. And we're ready. I'm ready to show you now. So here is our card. What do you think? Leave me a comment below, share with your friends, and let them know about this. Now, the only thing that I might do different is take some of my glossy accents or Nouveau drops or something shiny and put over the top of those. But I can't do it right now because they might get sticky. You really have to have a place to put them so that they can dry and nothing's going to touch them. But hopefully you can see on here, that's what I did, and that's what makes all of these dots really shiny. So I'm going to put the card off to the side. I'm going to let those sequins dry, and I'm going to grab a full sheet of cardstock. I'm also going to grab my scoreboard. And I need my scoring tool. And so this is a piece of 8.5 by 11. You're going to score at 2.5 and 6.5. Then you're going to turn this and you're going to score again at 1.5 and 10.5. And that's all the scoring. And we can go ahead and put our scoreboard away. We need to cut a few pieces out. Right here on this end, there's a very small rectangle. You can go ahead and cut that right out on both sides. I didn't quite get to the end there. Now when we're on this side, before we leave, we're just going to cut a little bit of an angle on both of these sides. And then we're going to move to the other side. So that's what that end looks like. We're going to move to this side. There's 2 little rectangles down here as well. We're going to cut those off. Of both sides. And I'm going to move those scraps out of the way. And then you do need a ruler, or you can eyeball it. It's just that your opening is not going to be quite as rounded. So let me get my ruler here and a pencil. And on this side here, these 2 sides, we're going to measure down at 1/4 inch and just make a little dot. Going to go to the other side and do the same exact thing. And then we're going to use our ruler and go from this corner here down to that dot. Again, I'll show you one more time. This corner here down to that dot. And so we're going to do it on both sides. We can put our ruler away. Then we need our paper snips one more time. We're going to cut up on that line. As I said, this just assures that you have a nice straight line inside of your envelope. You could just eyeball it if you want to. Now, one thing you could do on this corner is you could use your paper rounder. I don't have mine with me right now, so I'm just going to cut those corners to look really pretty. And then you do need some tearing tape and your bone folder. So we're going to use the bone folder. Make sure all of these edges are nice and burnished. All right, and then what we're gonna do is, you'll notice that these two sides are a little different. This one here is a little smaller, this is a little bigger. We do need to put a little tearing tape along that whole edge. We're gonna turn it on this little tab. We're gonna put some tearing tape there. And we're gonna turn to this bigger tab and also put tearing tape. Now, if you haven't figured out, this is your envelope. And if you wanted to do some stamping on the envelope, which I highly, highly recommend, I don't like to send out naked envelopes, this would be a good time to do it, knowing that this is the front of your card. So if you wanted to do some stamping, go ahead and do it now. And then what we're gonna do is take this piece of the backing off of the tearing tape, fold the shorter edge in, and bring that over. We're gonna use our bone folder just to make sure that the adhesive is really well adhered. We're gonna do this on the small tab, not the larger tab. We're gonna wait till we get our card put inside and then we'll open that. So you can make a bunch of these in advance and just have them ready for when you're ready to send them, and just don't put that adhesive on quite yet. Again, use your bone folder to make sure that's really good attached on there. You don't want your card falling out of the envelope. And then there you are, there's your envelope. Now I'm not gonna put the card that I just made because the sequins will fall off, but you can see how cute that'll be, putting your card right inside, sealing it, and if you did some stamping on the front, how fun it would be, along with the color on the inside of the card is also super fun. So leave me a comment, let me know what you think of this card, if it's your style of card, if you're gonna attempt to make one. And then also, I have a Facebook group. Come on over to the Facebook group and join us. We have lots of fun over there at facebook.com/stampitwithdebbie. I would love to have you join us over there as well. Again, be sure and share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and come back again soon so that you can see more fun projects using Stampin' Up! Products. I hope to see you again real soon in class. Have a great day.